So some people asked me to make a kind of a video response. The thing that Adonis is saying is it's all true, essentially. Uh, so I grew up in Mississippi. I live in Wisconsin now, but I grew up in Mississippi, and I was really into. Oh, that's annoying. I was really into like the South Lost Cause, Neo-Confederate stuff when I was a kid. And then eventually I ended up with 2 history degrees. My master's is actually from the University of Mississippi. And I took courses, and we talked a lot about race, especially, well, in one class that was called race. And race is a social construct, and it was constructed to divide the working class in the late 17th, early 18th century. And several scholars have done work about this. I mean, this isn't some novel idea. It's been around it's been known for a while. There is a book that I have called, I think it's called Creating a White Nation or Making a White Nation. And the lady's name that does it, her last name is Battaloria. I think it's Battalora or Battaloria. Google it. And it actually talks about, it goes through the laws and how the laws change, and you can actually see the first time the terms white and black were used in colonial law. And it was after, I may mess this up, I think it was Shays' Rebellion, when you had white and black people, colonists working together. Anyway, it was kind of a response. But yes, at that time, before, sorry, our camera work sucks. Before you had this kind of codification of what it meant to be white, what it meant to be black, you had an interracial marriage, you had white women marrying black men, vice versa. Especially, I mean, all over in the colonies. So, in order to keep the rabble in line, as it were, the laws were changed, and Professor David Roediger wrote a book 30 plus years ago called The Wages of Whiteness, and it discusses part of this, but it talks about even how the Irish became white, because initially when the Irish came to the U.S., they were seen as less than. They were not considered white. So whiteness, actually it doesn't have as much to do with skin color. It becomes that, but at a certain point it was a mixture of religion, social class, etc., economic class. And so that's just the way it is. And the response that we've had from white people in this country, especially the conservative white people, especially after Obama won twice, I think there's two things you can say about it. I don't want to make this a very long video. I think the issue is that even with a quote-unquote progressive person in different positions of power, you're still not going to get systemic changes that we need. And people want systemic changes. There's people that vote for Trump that want universal health care, and it's like they don't understand that they're voting against their own material interests. And Marx called this false consciousness. Yes, go read your Marx, please. Marx referred to this as false consciousness, and so it's when the working class basically supports its own oppressors. So anyway, but yeah, and I think more white people need to be involved in talking to other white people, because, Adonis can say what he wants to, but he's a black guy. If I roll up and say something, I've got receipts and life experience and an accent and everything else, and so I'm missing my tooth right now. I don't look like the guy that's talking about Marx and black liberation. But anyway, but yeah, so there's also The Wages of Whiteness is a good book. Nell Irvin Painter's The History of White Folks, I think it's I think it's the history of white people or something is good. There's a lot of good stuff on my channel. There's actually a reading list. If you click to it, it just connects to lots of different books, and you can find books in psychology. You can find books just history, sociology, all these different works. But essentially, it's about racism in this country and white supremacy. Is what we use to keep the working class in line, and so that the Elon Musks of the world can continue to, and Donald Trump can continue to maintain their economic and social status. Deuces.